Hi, I'm Stacy Thacker with Art Totality, and I'm here to show you how to make a desk ornament made with an American flag. These can be reused with paper clips sitting down inside of them. You can also garnish them with confetti, paint the K-cup. It's a really simple and easy project, and honestly, under $5. So first part is I'm going to show you the base and how to create the base of the K-cup. So you want to go ahead and measure out 1 cup of pre-blended concrete, and I went ahead and grabbed my cup because it's a pretty heavy bag. And then I also recommend that you reuse like a ice cream bucket, gallon bucket, and then I'm reusing a paint stir as well to go ahead and mix everything together. You're going to need a 1/3 cup of water to 1 cup of pre-blended concrete, as well as a plastic spoon to go ahead and scoop everything into the K-cup. And then if you're going to go ahead and do flags like I am, you're going to want to get, this is going to make 7 of them, 7 flags. The first thing that you need to do is get your K-cup. You're going to want to take off that top. I just go ahead and cut it off and make it a perfectly round circle so it looks like this. And then I'm going to take the coffee out of the K-cup. And then after I take the coffee out of the K-cup, you can reuse that in your garden or whatever. But after you take the coffee out, just leave the filter inside because it kind of works as a stabilizer once you puncture the flag down inside. So after you clean all of that out, it's going to look like this, as you can see here. And then you're going to go ahead and put on your protective stuff. So especially if you're working with kids with this, you want to make sure that they put a mask on. This mask is a 3M dust mask, and it works very well for when you're getting ready to pour the pre-blended concrete down into the gallon bucket reused container. And then I'm also going to recommend that you get some nitrite gloves and put those on. And also, make sure you dress for a mess because it does get kind of messy at times, especially if you're working with kids on this. So, oh yeah, and I wanted to mention, this project is good from the age of 2 all the way up through a senior crafter. So this works out very well, and you could do it in a group. You don't have to do concrete. You can actually make these as starters for plants or whatever. But like I said, I've done all kinds of things with the K-cup activity. I've been working with these for years. I felt really guilty about using my Keurig, so I wanted to find ways to get rid of my K-cups using artistic things, and so this is what I've come up with. Since then, I actually use a French press, so I don't use a K-cup. These are literally still left over from all the usages that I had with my Keurig. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off to put this mask on. You want to make sure you got a good seal. Do it around the nose because you don't want any dust getting inside your lungs. That's the whole purpose of why we're wearing the mask. And then, like I said, to protect your hands from getting messy, go ahead and put on your gloves before you begin. And the whole process of mixing up the concrete and the water literally is less than 5 minutes. So go ahead and put your 1 cup of pre-blended concrete in your reusing tub. Put in a 1/3 cup of water. And you're going to slowly stir your concrete and your water together, making sure it's stirred up real well before you add any more. And actually, I had a little bit of water left. You want it to be about the consistency of pudding. So, actually, I do need more water. And I'll show it to you here in a second so you can see what that consistency is like. And this concrete has stones in it. Actually, if you're going to pour molds that have like a fine design to it, I recommend getting the Portland cement and then mixing that with sand as your aggregate. Okay, so this is the consistency. You'll see here, it's kind of like pudding, about that. Now, since I'm done and there's no more dust, and so you can hear me better, I'm going to go ahead and take off my mask. And then I'm going to leave my gloves on just in case, so I make sure that I don't get any cement on my hands. By the way, it's just 1 scoop per cup. And depending on how full you want your cup is going to be what you're going to use your K-cup for. Really depends on how much you put it. So I recommend leaving just a little bit of space in case you end up wanting to put the paper clips in it. So like I said, 1 heaping teaspoon. And then since you're going to paint the outer part, I do recommend trying to keep your cement off of that. And I also recommend that you protect the bottom because there is a hole from where the coffee went out. So protect that bottom, making sure that you don't have the cement leaking out. And I'll show you, I reuse the stuff that I get when I buy drinks. It's sitting on the bottom, it's the cardboard piece. But as you can see, I've got newspaper down underneath here as well, which I also recommend that you use. And again, this only takes a few minutes to fill up all 6 of these. Sometimes I get 7 out of it. It just depends on what I'm doing to the inside of the cup. And in this case, I'm actually getting 6, which I'm pleased with that. Like I said, make sure to wipe the top part a little bit because you are going to wipe that off later after they're done drying. And voila, there you go. I have just a little bit left over that I can go ahead and fill up 1 more of these. It's pretty low. I'll fill this one up. And whenever you can reuse, I do recommend going ahead and cleaning this bucket out again because it's a really good bucket to use for maybe later on when you decide to do a garden stem. So we're done with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of pat it down a little bit. And since I'm on newspaper, I'm good. And then I also like to go ahead and take my flag and reuse the foil that was along the top. I'm going to go ahead and push that in. And then once I center it in my K-cup, I get a good idea where I want it. Then I'm going to push down till it pops through that filter that's down below. And then I'm going to press in on that foil because that will hold it in place. And then you're going to do that for all 6 of these, but I'm not going to waste your time by showing you all that. What I do want to show you is when we're done what it looks like. So this is after they've dried, and as you can see it has like a white look to it, and that's how you know it's done. And the nice thing that I like about this is after they're dry and to do the K-cup decoration is that I can hold it by the stick and then go ahead and do it that way. I really like the fact that I can go ahead and paint and hold on to the stick at the same time. So next I'm going to go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to take 6 of these out. And then I'll show you, I'm actually reusing a cupcake holder. And that's really what I'm going to end up using to hold the rest of these once I put the flags back down inside of them. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, but I wanted to show you that handy dandy tray that comes with cupcakes. Really simple. So after you've let those set overnight, which I recommend definitely overnight and picking it back up the next day, then I recommend going ahead and decorating your cup. So if you're watching and following along with me, pause the video and then pick back up right where we're at here. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and clean up my stuff, and then I'll start with the decoration piece. I don't need the water anymore. I've already got the ones that I'm going to go ahead and decorate right here. And you can reuse ribbon that you actually have from Christmas even. So if you decide to go ahead and paint the base a blue, which is a really nice color for the flag design, then what you can do is go ahead and use like a red ribbon that you might have. And I like to go ahead and leave the paper towel there. But the ribbon that you might have from Christmas. Also, too, I want to mention that all the instructions of everything that we're covering for the actual creating the base to the decoration is on our website. It's at www.arttotality.org. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get out all the stuff that I need to go ahead and decorate my cup. And I'll go ahead and cover these items with you. I went ahead and got the acrylic red and blue so I could show you. And the acrylic is the paint of choice because it dries so quickly. It probably takes about 15 minutes to go ahead and dry. And then I went ahead and decided to go ahead and use the blue ribbon. I pre-cut it to 7 inches, which is about perfect for the top lid of the K-Cup. And then I recommend a ruler so you can go ahead and cut your ribbon exactly 7 inches. You can also do decorative ribbon. I went ahead and bought this for the 4th of July, which was just the other day actually. You'll need to get scissors because you're going to cut your ribbon. And here's an example of my pre-cut ribbon already. Now I just want to mention, if you are working with young children, I recommend you put the double-sided tape on the actual ribbon along the top, and you let them go ahead and peel it off and put it around the K-Cup. So that's just an option that you can use without using the glue gun. And so I went ahead and heated up the glue gun, so it's all ready for me. And then here's the double-sided tape that I used to put on the ribbon. And then after everything's dry, you can actually use paint sticks to go ahead and put different designs on your K-Cup as well. And then here's the different stars that I used as confetti. I just reused these. My son was accepted into a certain college, and so they sent him these, and so I reused the stars. Okay, so I also recommend foam brushes to paint with. They're pretty awesome. You can reuse these. And then this paint tray that I have is very, very similar to what you get with the cupcake tray. And then I put just a little bit of paint in here. And I only use a very small amount, and I go ahead and I mix it up real good. Yes, I have had an accident where I didn't have the cap on real good and sprayed paint everywhere. That has happened. But I mix it up real well, and I just put a little bit in at a time. Okay, so like I said earlier, if you pick it up by the stick, using your foam brush, get it nice and wet, and you're going to paint all the way around the K-Cup. But one thing I forgot to mention to you, before you start painting, make sure to clean around the K-Cup. I started to paint that, realized as I was doing it, that you want to make sure that you clean the whole surface because you're going to be painting over top of it. So go ahead and take some time and clean off that K-Cup real good. I'm going to go ahead and clean mine off. Obviously I got some cement on it. And I am going to paint up along this top ledge, so I also want to make sure that I get it the cement off that too. I'm just going to do a few of these and kind of show you when I'm done. Let's set this one off a little bit, because I want to talk a little bit about that one. Also too, remember earlier I had told you about I put the foil down to stabilize it. I'm going to go ahead and take this foil off, and I just kind of bring it up the flag and I rip it off, and then I recycle it. But go ahead and do that too before you start your painting. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and start painting. So I'm going to go ahead and paint around the K-Cup. Like I said, you can use the stick to hold it, which I like because I can just rotate the stick. And you're going to end up putting a few coats on these. And like I said, I like to paint the bottom. And I also like to paint the top ledge as well. If you're wondering what the glaring look was a second ago, I have a dog that likes my full attention, and she keeps coming over here wanting my attention, so I was giving her the look of leave me alone right now. So I have a weird way of looking when I want my dog to leave me alone, which she's down there right now. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I kind of like the look of the white underneath it, so you may choose to keep it that way. Now, I reused a piece of styrofoam to go ahead and let it set up and dry. I know it's kind of odd, but that's what I did. And, you know, keep in mind, it's a little unsturdy. But I'm going to go ahead and take this one out since I finished it. And put this one in for weight. And then I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll show you. I'll go ahead and put a second coat on this so you can see how I got it to look like the one that's sitting right there. I put on a couple coats. And if you don't like the white coming through, you may have to apply 3 coats. Just depends on what your preference is. And I've even decided to paint the top of the cement at times. Concrete, whatever you want to call it. There you go. And actually, I like the look of this red right now. And I used just about all the paint just on this one. So I'm not going to paint all 6. It would take a little bit longer than what I think that you would want to spend time with me on this video. So there you go. There's the red, and it's a really nice, pretty red. And again, you're going to want to let this set for about 15 minutes. And then keep in mind, you don't want your flag to stick up like that other one. I was in a hurry, because then it'll ruffle the flag. So if you want to keep that blue, you can too. But next I'm going to go ahead and show you one that has already dried. We're going to be done with our painting here. And I'm going to get these out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So the one that's already dry is this one here. And so you can just unroll the flag and let it set open a little bit. But the next thing I want to do is go ahead and put that ribbon on it. So, unfortunately, sometimes when you cut your ribbon, it frays, and if you see that you have one side that's frayed and another side that's not, I would choose to start with the side that has the frayed piece. Or if you have a piece of maybe a design that it's cut off, like for example a star, like I have this star here, then you can go ahead and start with that piece that's halfway cut off. I go ahead and put a small dot on the ledge, and I like to put mine up along the top. It's really just a preference. I put just a small dot there to start it. And by the way, you didn't have to keep your gloves on. I don't think anybody really cares about wearing gloves for putting glue. And you can actually put another design on top of this ribbon when you're done with your glue gun. It just depends, or when you're done gluing this down on the cup. It just depends on what you want to do. Again, if you're working with children, just make sure that you're creating a station where they can come up to you and you can do the glue gun with them. Again, I put this up along the top. Now if you want a nice seam, you can go ahead and fold it under like this and crease it. And later on you can worry about getting all this stuff off of it that's created by the glue gun. I like to seam mine, so I'm going to go ahead and do a seam. And based on how much this is folding over, this is a pretty large ribbon over top and kind of hid a lot of our K-cup decoration. So on this one, I actually might end up adding some of those confetti stars to it to make it look really cool. So I'll do one more and show you how awesome this looks with this ribbon so you can see. So this is one that has the white showing through, and this has the double-sided tape on it. So, and I'm going to take these gloves off because it's almost close to impossible. Okay, so I go ahead and take the double-sided tape off. Not working real well for me right now. And I'm going to go ahead and do the glue on this one. And the frayed piece right here, I went ahead and took it off so I could show you this. The frayed piece is right here, and that's the piece I'm going to start with. If you're quick, you can put most of it on there. See, it's a lot better if you have the ribbon that's not so long, and you could actually have tucked this ribbon if you wanted to use it. And then in this case, since it's close to being the same design, I'm just going to overlap it. So I'm not going to tuck it. There you go. And you have all these strings. And then here's the stars, and I'm going to go ahead and fill the bottom of this, or the top of this, I mean, with the stars, so it looks like this. And then on this one, you could even add the paper clips because it did have extra space, so it could be a reusing ornament. And then you can hang like little post-it notes to remind yourself of something that you have to do. I had one on the picture for this one that shows milk, cereal, and butter, so I didn't forget to pick it up from the store before I went home. Our family eats a lot of cereal. Okay. You just gotta kind of let this unravel after you've had it folded in there. But there you go. It's a really cool desk ornament, and what I like about this is I do like the white that's actually showing through. You know, sometimes mistakes end up being something pretty awesome with the art projects that you do. So that is the K-Cup. So again, like I said, visit